Welcome. I'll just remind members you have been given some legally privileged legal opinion. It is legally privileged. Please do not talk to that opinion. You have it for information.
Where is that opinion?
What does legally privileged mean?
Where is the opinion?
What opinion?
We have spare copies if you didn't pick it up.
Advisory note, that's what you're referring to.
What is it?
Yep, the advisory note, yep. And you had a covering email from Jim Quinn. Yep. So there are two opinions there.
I haven't got something.
One furnished by the council and one furnished by the Independent Maori Statute.
My laptop won't print out at home, Mr. Chairman. It won't link to my printer at home, and if I'm not here,
I don't have it either.
do it.
There's some out there.
Johnny.
Tēnā koutou. I'd like to introduce Sarah Howard, who's our Effectiveness for Māori manager. So she's been with us for the last 6 weeks. Her role is to lead and coordinate the Treaty Audit Response Program on behalf of Council. And one of her critical roles is to ensure she brings the rigour around planning and reporting to the process. And I'm just going to hand over to Sarah to take us through the report.
Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you. The IMSB presented their 2015 treaty audit on 21st of May 2015. The audit noted that Council had made some improvements since the previous 2012 audit. And alongside that, the audit went ahead and made 71 individual recommendations, and these were grouped into 25 recommended actions for the Council to address. Council staff were then asked by this committee to report back with the proposed work program in response to the treaty audit. The work program that we're proposing is attached in Appendix A of the report. That's a high-level 2015 through to 2018 work program, and then a specific work program for this financial year is provided in Appendix B. The work program is aligned to those 25 recommended actions within the treaty audit. One of the main vehicles for us to drive this work program is through the Effectiveness for Māori program, which is actually led by by the Council's Transformation Director and part of Te Toa Takatining. The report also notes that detailed project level planning is yet to occur, and that will occur in consultation with the Independent Māori Statutory Board Secretariat, and is again a part of that Effectiveness for Māori program. And lastly from me, the report notes that in May the Budget Committee also agreed to identify $2 million over 3 years to implement the Treaty Response Program, and we'll be reporting on this budget provision. That will be included in our quarterly reports to the Finance Performance Committee and the Joint Governing Body and IMSB meeting.
Okay, I'm just going to signal that we do have a couple of additional recommendations that have been put up by Member Tapiri and Member Tamahiri. We're quite happy to add one of them, which is H, but Johnny, I believe you have seen them. Can you speak to the other one? Do you have that?
Can we look at it?
Can we see it, sir?
Yep.
H.
We'll put H in there. Well, there they are there actually, but
yes, we certainly support H. We actually refer to that element in the body of the report.
Yep, we're aware of that. Yep.
And also, just in terms of I, the challenge for us to do a detailed 3-year program is quite a challenge in terms of doability and how we need to coordinate across the council family. What we have committed to do is ensure we have a clear annualised work program over the 3 years, and with specific priorities each quarter that we'll be able to report through to this committee on a quarterly basis.
So, Member Tapiri, do you want to speak to that? Because I say H we can add in there without an amendment, but I is just problematic a little bit for staff. Do you want to?
Oh, kia ora, Mr Chairman. Oh, that's good to know about H. In terms of I, well, we don't accept that. There's a 3-year program set out. You must have developed the program from specifics. Why can't we understand what the specifics are so that we can measure that alignment and be sure about why we're doing things? And it's as simple as what that resolution recommendation is seeking, Mr Chairman. I think paragraph 32 is highlighted by council. Further detailed work is required, budget and property. There was another one at 30. There's other reports and other paragraphs in here that make reference to a 3-year plan. I can't understand how you get to a overall plan if you haven't got some specifics that go with it. We're seeking a report in October, which is some time away. And I would ask that the report just highlights what they have got. Don't make it up. We just want to know what it is. And I think that's fair. I think that comes back to the measurements and alignments relating to the progress. I mean, there's been discrepancies around between the auditor and the council in terms of what's been completed. H is to address that. So we don't get into that issue of debate, and that's why we strongly want that in there. But I provides the information to be able to get to that point. So, I mean, we've put it up, Mr Chairman, as a motion and a movement by myself and Member Tamahere, and I guess we'll hear what the decision of this council is.
Well, what I'm going to do is, because you agree that H is fine and we all agree, and this is a staff report, but we'll put H into the report and we'll treat I as an amendment. Moved by yourself and seconded by Member Tamahere.
Good, Mr Chairman.
Mr Chair, what's the Mr Freeman's response to trying to get greater clarity, regardless of whether we have his end-to-end solution, which is now 4 years?
You're more than please ask him the question, but we will take it through.
Well, he heard what Taipari said.
Yep.
Certainly in terms of, we agree with being able to have specific actions in the planning. In terms of being able to deliver on the detailed 3-year program, that's certainly where the challenge sits. Within the report from paragraph 24, we've identified the key actions for the first quarter that are currently underway. Also, we believe by ensuring that we put a clear monitoring and control framework in place, which is referred to on paragraph 29, it'll start to ensure we have that assurance over the controls and delivery, and especially around the specificity of the actions. The actions are also fairly linked to the recommendations of the treaty audit.
Okay. Right. Well, we have an amendment now, which is I. But so I'm going to ask: are there any questions that anyone has?
No question.
Yep.
Just
Councillor
in relation, I just want to know in relation to the report, paragraph 39, it says local boards have not been consulted. I mean, we had a workshop yesterday where we talked about local boards and governing body being one as a council. So why is that?
Certainly the nature of the audit was actually an audit of council's functions in terms of services, delivery and policy, so it sat within departments and across CCOs. The governing body and local boards weren't part of the auditing process, so this is very much centred on an organisational response, but certainly in the nature of some of the actions outlined, it will require staff to engage with local boards and governing body around decision making related to specific actions and recommendations of the audit report itself.
Well, Mr Chair, I find this kind of curious, and I thought that local boards were part of the Auckland Council governing bodies, and I would have thought that a matter such as this would go to local boards, because I know that local boards have got programs for dialogue with their mana whenua and also Marawaka. And, you know, each board is doing different things, and they're doing a good job, I think, in many cases. So I would have thought, and who made the decision, Johnny, on that would be the case?
Certainly in terms of, we followed the pattern we've done with the previous audit in terms of certainly the OMSB tabled the report at this committee. This committee has the oversight of the delivery of the program, and we've just brought it back to this committee in that context.
Well, Mr. Chair, in those circumstances, I'm going to move that this report be referred to local boards for their input before a decision is made.
Have a seconder, Councillor Wood.
Yes, I'm happy to second that.
Decision on what?
Councillor Walker.
Yeah, I just got a couple of questions, and I just may not have picked things up. It mentions...
Point of clarification. Are we dealing with the amendment, Mr. Chairman, or are we dealing with the report?
We're just doing questions generally, then more specifically come to the amendment.
It's okay, I just remember that you said the amendment, that was all.
Yep. Sorry, it was just to
That's okay.
clarify that we
Just
had a
a-
second
just
for that one.
clarification.
Yep.
Yeah, I've just got a couple of questions, and they basically, in principle, go to the comment that I made earlier that we need to explain what things are so that the public can understand them as much as us. So, Titoa Takatini, what is that?
Oh my gosh.
That's the name of
Definition.
a council family program of action centred on embedding Māori responsiveness across the Auckland Council family, including CCOs and departments.
Okay, now that you've said that, I understand that, but there's no mention in here as to what it is, and so that would be useful to know. And the other question I've got, there's some items under planning and policy, and there's a te Eonga policy, that's sort of treasures, I guess. What is that exactly?
Certainly that centres on a key recommendation of the audit where the auditors identified that council doesn't have a comprehensive policy addressing taonga Māori or Māori treasures in a coherent way from the management of taonga, and so they identified the need to introduce a policy. We have parts of the organisation such as libraries, the art gallery, and also through the RFR relationship with the Auckland Museum, where there are some policies that exist there, but we don't have a comprehensive policy for the family as a whole.
So effectively, the things that are in this program relate to another document or documents.
Yeah, so both the 3-year high-level program and the 12-month program directly relates to the treaty audit report and how we're proposing to respond to the recommendation.
His opinion is.
Okay. I guess my concern, Mr. Chair, is if a member of the public read this and tried to understand it, they'd have a bit of difficulty getting their head around this agenda item. Now that's all.
Okay, we'll take that on board, a little bit more definition, glossary, whatever, where appropriate. Councillor Quick.
Yep, may I speak to this document here, Mr. Chair?
No, we're just taking questions at the moment.
Well, there's a question related to the issue that
Which
Councillor
document are
Wood,
you? Yep, which
Councillor Wood
document
raised.
Yep.
And in number 13, in paragraph 13 of this document, it talks about the purpose of the Maori responsiveness framework is to enhance and to guide the Auckland Council's family responsiveness. Now, Johnny, is or is not the local board part of the council family?
Yes, as a whole, it's part of Auckland Council.
Mr. Chair, can we get a, this is a point of order, can we just get some clear systemic going here? Councillor Wood has already placed an amendment that broaches the subject that has been raised by Councillor Quacks, and there will be time for that to be expressed there. What I'd like you to do is bring the debate back to the specificity of paragraph I. I'm not doing an injustice to Councillor Quacks. I'm just asking that this gets very messy if we don't just end one part of the business and then move to another point.
Are there any, we have Councillor Case, are there any specific, just general questions, still to be general questions, before we have questions specifically on I? Or is it related to I,
No,
the amendment?
it's nothing to do with Councillor Wood's amendment.
And nothing to do with Amendment I, which is...
It's the
member
one that you
typos.
didn't accept, so yes it is.
Okay, yes, fine. Okay.
So can I ask it?
Yep.
Well, Johnny, what I don't get is it you can't produce the report by October because it's too soon, so you need more time, or you don't want to produce the report, so there's an issue about reporting. I'm not quite sure which it is.
It's not so much the report itself. It's actually producing a detailed work program for a 3-year program, which actually involves engaging with different parts of the organisation to actually get into detailed project planning. The organisation tends to work on an annualised basis through the annual plan and how each department conducts its business planning in detail. So what we've outlined is the high-level 3-year program which addresses the recommended actions of the treaty audit spread over 3 years. We've also will deliver on a detailed program of action on each annual basis and with certain specific detail on each quarter so that there's clear oversight around delivery, how we are being able to monitor and report on progress. And one of the critical aspects where we've highlighted where in cases where the IMSB or the auditors and council haven't got agreement on what's closed or not, the importance of having an agreed set of criteria around what closed look like is quite critical to be able to demonstrate clear progress both in terms of the delivery of the program as well as how we start to lift council's performance in terms of our compliance and effectiveness for Māori, which is the ultimate outcome of what we're trying to achieve.